ourselves and seek a better understanding of who we are and how we can improve their lives. A considerable part of this personal growth movement is self-discovery. Unless we know who we are and where we stand, we cannot fully identify the growth to achieve and the potential we have to complete more. Traditionally, self-discovery is associated with taking a personality test like Myers-Briggs or doing some soul searching to figure out your dream career. However, self-discovery goes way beyond just finding out your personality type or your job. In fact, self-discovery is almost every aspect of personal development. While yes, the previous examples I mentioned do fall under the same umbrella, self-discovery goes much deeper. So why is self-discovery important? We are born with a small piece of the bigger puzzle we call life, and the onus is on us to complete the puzzle to find the missing pieces. In this journey of self-discovery, we will find what makes us truly happy and what gives us joy. We will be able to actualize our potential and impart meaning to our lives by spending time discovering and developing our interests. So, finding out our true selves involves creating a clean slate, reviving our brains to let go of what others expected or wanted us to be. And with that being said, I'd like Rainy to guide our meditation so that we can all get into the zone. Thank
Thank you, Mika. So I would like all of us to close our eyes and now get into your safe zone and feel free. Now I want you all to take a deep breath. Breathe in on a count of 1, 2, 3, and breathe out all your worries, anxieties, or anything that is hurting you all. Just get into touch with your body, or the vibrations, everything that has happened throughout the day. Just feel in the breathing and the breathing out. Touch any of your body part which is like paining, or any part where you're feeling the vibration is very strong. Get into touch with your own sensation of breathing, like the breathing speed or the heartbeats that are going on while you're breathing. Embrace yourself. Give yourself a gratitude that y'all could be here today. Hold the sacredness and the compassion in your heart. And ground in your entire energy. Breathe in all the positive energy and breathe out all that you don't want. Yeah, we can come back when you feel free and relaxed.
Thank you, Renita. That was great. All right, team. Well, once again, welcome. I wanted to start this with like a little icebreaker activity. So there's 7 of us. So it's like it's a small group, so we'll be able to like communicate and share ideas with each other pretty occasionally. But I wanted to like ask you all, kind of like to start this to kick off things. I wanted to do an icebreaker. So you say your name, where you're calling from, and then answer the question, what has been the best thing and the worst thing about being in a lockdown due to COVID? Okay, so and then once you're done, you can read the names of everybody else, you pass it on to somebody else. Okay, so example, I'm Felipe. I'm calling from Utah in the United States. And one of my favorite things that happened to me during the lockdown was that I was able to explore more of my artistic side because there was a little bit more extra time, as you probably all know. So that was my favorite thing. And my least favorite thing was that we couldn't gather in big places with friends. I love going dancing with friends all night and going camping and things like that. And that was definitely restricted during COVID, but had to happen. So that would be my intro, So let's see, I'll call in Misa. Do you wanna go next?
Hi, I'm Mac. Sorry, the name's the Zoom account name is wrong, but I'm Maxwell.
Maxwell, we're gonna change it right now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I guess the best thing about COVID lockdown is that I have a lot more time to explore my hobbies, which is nice. I guess the worst thing is just not being able to do sports and like group activities.
Thank you. So do you want to call on somebody else?
Anna.
Thanks, Maxwell. Hi, everyone. My name's Anna, and I'm calling from Gujarat in India. I'd say the worst thing for me in the lockdown was a big, heavy feeling of anxiety and guilt. Am I doing enough and supporting vulnerable communities? And that sense of guilt, feeling very privileged in the position that I was. And then the other side of it, the best thing was being in lockdown with my mum and having that time with her, as I haven't lived with her since I was a teenager, a very long time ago. And bonding with her and making lots of new memories as we live in different countries. So we were locked down together in India, which was a really amazing gift. So yeah, they were my 2 things. I would like to pass it on to Rennie.
Thank you, Anna. I would like to. My name is Renita, and I'm calling from Mumbai, India. I would like to start from the worst thing. So the worst thing was that it was a really breakdown being at home and completely just staying and not doing anything else, and which got me into many things, body work and all that, which was really very different and even hectic and depressive, I guess. And the best thing was I learned more of doing house things and gardening and got touch with nature, which is besides my house, which I had never noticed. So yeah, that was the thing. And I'm really excited for the circle, and I would like to tag Ria.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Ria. I'm calling from Pune, India. And I think the best thing that happened to me during the lockdown was I got so much time with my family, because earlier my dad used to come back home quite late in the night after his work. And, we used to almost go to bed by then, because we had school and college and things like that. But I'm really grateful that I'm getting all this time with my family, and I just really appreciate it a lot. And I think the worst thing to happen in the lockdown was just um, being surrounded by all kinds of like negative news everywhere, because you're hearing about deaths taking place, you're hearing about loving ones losing their family, and it was just, yeah, it was hard to kind of take in. But I think all of these calls and meetings have really helped me to uh, keep my calm. So I think, yeah, I'm really grateful for that as well. Thank you. I'd like to call Mihika.
Thank you. My name is Mika and I come from Pune, India. And I think the worst thing probably for this lockdown is that I couldn't travel. I really love to travel and go for hiking and things like that, which I couldn't really do. So I think that was the worst thing because I hated being stuck in the house. And I don't know, I just, the four walls that were constantly surrounding me, and that was a great feeling. But at the same time, I think I really got to spend time with myself and to redefine what I thought, like what my success was, or things like that, because I could really address few of my problems and on these topics of success and what is enough and stuff that. So I think that was one of the highlights for me. Thank you. Yeah. So I could begin with the questions. Right.
Since it's
So first,
a smaller group, we're gonna let Mihika just lead us all. Yeah.
yeah. So the first part of this discussion is covering our passions, and I would like to start by asking, what are your passions? And is there an activity you could happily spend hours doing and lose track of time? That could be something that leaves your heart and body feeling rejuvenated. Um, so Ria, if you'd like to go first.
Yeah, sure. So I think, I have quite a few hobbies that I absolutely love doing. There's music, but I think nothing tops art for me. It's just, I'm doing crafty stuff, I'm painting, I'm sketching, and I could just completely lose track of time, and I would be totally unaware about what's going around me once I get lost doing my art. So I think that's one of the highlights. So like just last week, I did this pencil sketch which took me like 9 hours, and I was doing it over like 2 or 3 days, and I started it late in the evening, but I didn't have my dinner till like 11 p.m. just because I was so into it and I couldn't. So finally, my mom had to say that, okay, if you don't come out right now, you're not getting any food. And I really wanted that burger. So yeah, that's the only reason I just got up quickly. I gulped my food and I started doing it. So I think it's one of the things that just I completely lose myself. So, yeah.
Would anybody else like to go first? Next, I mean.
Yeah, I can share. For me, it is really dancing. If I start once and it's going into my mood, and especially dancing in nature. So it's really, really, really like I don't see anybody around me and what's going on. I'm like completely into the world of universe of dancing. So it's magical how you can sense your body while dancing. So that's what makes me really feel like I'm not into this world. I'm not I don't know people are around me or no. So it has been like a experience from so long for me, and especially when it is I want to share one experience. It was like a college, during the college time, it was raining, and there were people who were playing guitar near the cafe, and we were just I was just started dancing, and people had joined me dancing just because I had started. I was feeling so much vibrant with that energy. I was like, oh my god, people like dancing. And I was like amazing. I didn't recognize that I had left my train, and I was like I had to go home back, and I was late, and I was like, oh my god, now I'm going to get scolding. That's like the passion of dancing for me.
That's so nice. Yeah, I could feel the enthusiasm and the excitement you felt even then. So that's great. Would Anna, Felipe, either of you like to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. So what are my passions? I think, you know, when I think about passions, I can just like think of so many things that like get me really excited and want to do things about. But as I kind of like start digging a little bit deeper, I think a passion of mine is to search for happiness for myself and for those around me. And so I think that we've all been in like low moments at times in our lives. You know, maybe something happens, or there's stress, or some depression, or you know, just like things. And it is a very big passion of me to not to ignore it, but process it so I can go into a happy state once again. And that includes like, and I think that because that's sort of like a passion / motivation, it can convert or can transform into a lot of different things. So for example, I'm gay, and I grew up in a very like conservative religious family and community in general, and so I never felt safe. I never felt like I could express myself completely. And so nowadays I try to create spaces where people can radically express themselves, where they can feel safe, where they can explore things that maybe they were too scared to explore because of the judgment that came from a community or from family or things like that. And so I host events and different like dance parties. So Rennie, you should like totally join next time if you come to the US. I try to that's a big passion of mine, to allow people to feel safe and to explore and to be curious and to embrace themselves radically, which even though it's 2021, we still need those spaces, sadly. So I'm happy that I'm able to provide that. And so, yeah, I'm pretty passionate about creating that sense of safety and happiness on myself and others by exploring ourselves and embracing ourselves. So, yeah. What about you, Maxwell or Anna?
Yeah, so I guess like my passion, one of my passions at least, is like I like baking a lot and just cooking in general. I don't know, I just find something relaxing about it, and it's something, you know, I can do and just basically like lose myself in it, which is nice. And plus at the end you get to make something for other people.
Yeah.
You don't eat it all by yourself?
No, so sometimes I do, but not always.
Can I ask you, like, what kind of stuff do you bake?
Usually like bread. I like baking bread a lot. That's probably my favorite.
I love eating it, so.
Sometimes it doesn't turn out well, but that's how it is.
Do you do different kinds of bread, or do you have one go-to?
I think one of my favorites is like I like making baguettes a lot, and like other like Italian olive oil bread is really good.
Yum.
Wow.
Yeah. Should I call Anna? Should I call someone else there? Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
Maxwell. Yeah, I love bread, and I really miss the bread in the UK in comparison to India. Sorry, it's so good in the UK. And in India, it's so sweet. It's like a dessert. So I would say, I mean, I have like similar to Felipe, so many things come to mind, but one of I feel like it's almost like a natural flair of mine is to bring out the inner child in other people. Like I really, really love just messing around, being really playful, doing pranks on people, almost getting on their nerves, just to loosen the body and the energy and remember not to take life so seriously. So I'm always like tickling people, pushing them out of the way when they're trying to do something, and just trying to bring a bit of fun into whatever is like a mundane everyday activity, and really try and incorporate dance into it, because I love dancing. I would say that is like the sun for me, dancing. But I just love being really playful, and so I really love spending time with kids, because they are the best teachers for just connecting to whatever you're feeling in that moment and just going with it, and really just asking unfiltered questions. So I really try to do that, and sometimes enjoy making people feel a bit awkward and uncomfortable. So I'd say that's mine, just to like be really silly, because I mean life can get quite serious, can't it? So I'd say that is my passion, especially the last year, and having this time with my mom. And I mean, she is so playful and fun, and together we are like little children. And so it is something that I really try and tap into, especially when I'm feeling low, and try to like be silly every day. So I'd say that's mine. Is that everybody? Oh, Mahika,
Yeah.
how about you?
Okay. Yeah, I think one of my passions would be coding. I know, like, I can spend like days doing one simple one program, and I can just keep on doing that, and I really enjoy coding and learning more about it. So I did this course. I've been doing this course for the past year, and I really enjoy that. I even taught programming to like little kids and some 8th to 10th graders. I did that too. So I really love it. And yeah, I think along with that, I also really like getting to know people. I think this sort of where we are talking and we're just getting to know each other. I think that is something that I can really spend hours doing, and I really loving this like deep conversations with my friends, and I think that is something that I really enjoy. Yeah. So I think maybe we could move on to the next question. If anybody would like to add something or something that you did not say, or you can go ahead.
I just want to say I had no idea that you coded, because
Yeah.
I know. So
Yeah, I think it never came to the conversation.
what a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift.
yeah, seriously.
Yeah. I really enjoy maths as well. So I think that kind of goes together. And I do both that. I even like did a research project last year in which I had to code and learn like new things. So that was super fun.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about what can you do to explore your current passion or discover new ones. It could be things you are putting off for a time, or hobbies that have piqued your interest. So what do you think you can do right now to explore your current passions or to find new ones? Um, it's the floor is open to anyone.
So what comes to mind, like what I usually do, like I love people, and I love meeting new people and learning about them. So am always inquiring and very curious. So I that's something, a question that I tend to ask people when I meet them, like what kind of brings them to life, what is like one of their favorite things that they've done that day. So that's where I get inspiration of new things that I could do, and I'm always trying new things based on what people have shared. And it's amazing how much that will then link to something else and something else and something else, and then you'll probably know someone that's actually done that like for years and you didn't have any idea. So that's kind of like a really big thing for me, how I explore more, and I listen to people more that have actually done it, rather than reading something, or something. I guess it's like community, word of mouth kind of thing. So that is like a go-to for me. And like, I think I try to be as open-minded and flexible as possible. So I feel like my passion and stuff is like constantly changing, and based on what you're feeling, your mood, or you know how you're interacting at that moment. It's just a constantly evolving thing for me. So it's like really lovely to hear what you all do, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try that. Yes, that's me.
Yeah. And it's really great that we always draw inspiration from those who are around us. And yeah, I think that's one of the best ways to really get to X something. Would anyone like to go next?
Can I just add something to that? I think it requires a certain level of humility to realize that you can learn from anyone and everyone. You know, because sometimes we can be like, oh, it's my passion, I know so much about this, move away, this is my road. When in reality, like all of us have like something that can provide and something that we can learn from, even if it's just like a little bit of inspiration. And so, for example, with my passion of creating safe spaces, I look up to so many different people that do the same, either in conversations like this on listening circles, or at a rave where there's like a party going on and everyone's dancing, or at meetings or conferences. And all of them, even though are so very different, are related in the sense of people are putting energy to host something for other people. And so, yes, I might not use what the conference people are using for a rave, but there's an element that probably I got from them, maybe a phrase even. And I think it's really nice and important to recognize that, to be able to always be a learner. And that kind of like allows us to explore more of our passions. So I just wanted to add that, like, you know, humility is super key to that part, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe I can add a little bit. I think what you said was like, I super relate that, because it's really important to have like a growth mindset wherein you can actually accept that, okay, I need to grow here and maybe I need to explore this and maybe I'm not the best at it. So I think even if it doesn't matter if I'm not the best at it, at the same time, I feel that you can always find inspiration from where you can draw more happiness and you can be more this. And I think that is really something. So I think I draw sort of inspiration from social media, particularly Pinterest, because that is something that I always go to when I'm feeling like, oh, I'm so bored, I want to do something. And then I would see Pinterest and maybe find to read, or new activities to try. So I think that is how I recently got into like goal setting and journaling and trying to find purpose and intent into every day, like creating some purpose and intent for every day. So yeah, I think I would like to go more to that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We got a new member here. Hi, Moses. I'm Felipe.
Hi,
We're
Moses.
here doing the listening circle. And Mihika just asked a question. We're talking about self-discovery, right? And we were, one of the questions that we have, and I'll put it right again on the chat for you to see, is what can you do to explore your current passion or discover new ones? It could be things that you're putting off for a long time, or hobbies that pique your interest. And it's very much related to what we've been doing with COVID, right? Especially with lockdowns and all this time that we have. It's been like a moment to do self-exploration, self-discovery. So feel free to share whatever you want. This is a safe space. There's no judgment, there's no interruptions. We're here to listen and to converse with each other and maybe draw some inspiration from each other. So welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Where are you calling from, Moses?
I'm calling from Zimbabwe, Southern Africa, just above South Africa.
Yeah, right by Zambia.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess I can take on the question of what can you do to explore our current passions or discover new ones. So I think that as we're talking about this humility and drawing from everyone and things like that, there's things that you see people doing that are like, ooh, that looks cool, I want to try that. for me, I've always been pretty outdoorsy. I like nature, I like hiking and things like that. And it's incredible how, I know this sounds like a little weird, outdoorsy, nerdy, I guess, but there's so much that has advanced in the outdoor kind of like world, you know, like the technology, tents, items, shoes, like different gadgets and all these things. And I remember feeling very intimidated by all of it, especially when I was starting to like buy my own gear, you know, like 5-7 years ago. And I remember looking for inspiration to other friends that were campers, like professional campers, you know, and so that was one of the ways that I drew or discovered more of the passion. But I think that one of the things that has helped me the most to discover new passions is like jumping into something. Just being like, okay, I don't know how to do this, but I really want to try. What am I going to do about it? So I'll either like go to try to do that activity or watch a YouTube video that shows kind of like what to do or how to do it and just go for it. And I think that's been really fun. I don't know if I've discovered new passions, because I feel like the passion that I already had for a topic is what drove me to learn more and to explore more of it. But I think being an open learner always brings new topics to my head to explore. So yeah. What about you, Maxwell or Moses?
Okay. So for me, the question is, what can you do to explore your current passion or discover new ones? You know, I'm passionate about speaking and getting ideas out. And I think one of the things which I learned during the COVID-19, because I was, you know, stuck at home, and as you said, Felipe, there's a lot of time for one to reflect. I think the idea is to get validation from, you know, for that passion, right? To say, to ask around and to get the thoughts of other people, like how you can do it better. So for me, I've always, you know, I watch a lot of like on YouTube, I get a lot of videos on people who speak on different issues, and I found out, like, for me, contemporary issues in leadership and politics, that's what I'm interested in. So the first thing that I saw, maybe, of what one can do, is just to look at who else is doing, who is doing that, right? And also that part of the validation, you know, like to there was, I don't know, maybe it's I need to add a cultural context. So here in Zimbabwe, when we have weddings, we have got, like, we call them the master of ceremony, like the guy who's, so we have two of those. There's the serious one in the morning, when people are exchanging vows. Then there's the, you know, the hippie one, the who does the dances when it's in the celebration, right? So at one of the, when COVID, like, where the relaxation in restrictions, I was given a task to say, because like for the serious part, one of the person who was supposed to do it, there was unfortunately a bereavement, a funeral happened. So there was like a crisis, and they say, who can step in? And someone nominated me for that. So I was so nervous, but I think at the end of it, people were like, oh, wow, you did great. We enjoyed the session and all that, although it was a sort of a serious, but I think that validation, you know, to get opportunities where they throw you into, yeah. So that's been the experience for me, the YouTube, the validation, and also just to try out new things, I think. So I'm on my way to set up a channel, which is something which I want to start. Yeah.
Oh,
That's way cool.
Thank you.
Maxwell, would you like to share?
Yeah. I guess, like, the way I find passions is, like, just through exploring. A lot of times, like a lot of times I can get them through other people as well. Like they recommend new activities to me, and I guess through connecting through that, I managed to find new things that I didn't think I would like, but I actually did, and that's how I found most of my like passions in life.
Mhm.
Maxwell, can I ask you a question? How did you start baking? Like what drove you to develop this passion?
I guess I didn't before when I was young. I didn't really bake that much, but I think what started is that I really like looking at chefs and reading their stories, and doing that I realized I wanted to try baking myself, and so I found that I really liked it, so I kept doing it.
Cool. Have you ever thought of having like a baking blog? You know,
Yeah.
'cause
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like
I've never really like blogging is something I've never really considered, but that's an interesting idea.
yeah, I feel like I remember in college, like blogging, especially like cooking blogs got really big. I mean, I remember people just going at it and creating it, and I thought that I mean, I felt like I got a lot of like ideas, which sort of like helped me into cooking and baking more, and I mean, and I love doing it, and I don't know if it's like a passion, you know, but I really enjoy doing it. So like for me, blogs were like a good way to enter into that. And again, I think we're kind of like all on the same topic of like sort of like following someone's example, or somebody else did this and it gets like really interesting, and that's how we ended up exploring our own passions, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I feel like sometimes when we push ourselves into like doing impulse decisions and we just go for it, we kind of find new things that we genuinely can sort of creates a domino effect wherein we go on exploring, go on doing new things. So yeah, I think with that we could now talk about discovering motivation. And so I would like to ask, what gets you out of a rut, and what gives you motivation? What is the thing that really makes you think that, oh, I've been in there a long time and now I need to get back, I need to step up again? Yeah, if anyone would like to start.
Could I?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so thank you. I think sometimes, just having an occasional reality check would help me feel motivated to do something that I might have been putting off, or I might be too lazy to do. So actually, that's how I started working out about 2 months ago, and I'm totally not the type that goes out and exercise, and I'm not at all a sports person, but I like slowly try to tell myself that I need to do this for my body, I need to do this for my health, because in the pandemic I've honestly realized that it is so important to take care of yourself and your health, because I don't think there's anything greater that you can have than a healthy body and a mind. So yeah, I think that's what gave me motivation. The pandemic just helped me realize that, okay, I need to do things for myself, I need to take care of myself, and I think that's how I started working out, and it went from 15 minutes to 50 minutes now. So yeah, that's what I do these days, and that gives me motivation, and that gets me out of a rut, because I've noticed that every day when I work out in the morning, I have a much more productive day and I feel less tired, is what I've noticed as well. Yeah. And sorry, just another thing. I think when we have like certain targets set, or certain like maybe promises to fulfill, I think that's what keeps us motivated to do something. For example, I'm into music and I try to post covers. So yeah, I think I had planned that in this month I wanted to post 2 covers, for example. So I really try hard to work on that and do that, because there are like people who I've told that I'm gonna be posting, and then they're looking forward to it maybe, and I think that would like help me stay motivated and do it for them. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ria. And I just wanted to like welcome Vasu is with us. He just joined us too. Hi, Vasu. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, thank you very much.
Yeah, of
Hello.
course. So
Hello.
just to give you like a brief intro, we're in the self-discovery listening circle. We're talking about passions and motivations. And the question that Mihika just asked to all of us is, what gets you out of a rut, or what gives you motivation? And so we're just like exploring and discussing. So if you ever feel like sharing, please do. Safe space. There's no judgment, no interruptions. We want to like explore together and come up with more ideas on how can we have more self-discovery moments like the ones that we're having right now. So I just wanted to ask Ria if it's okay. Sorry, was that you, Vasu, or? No? Okay, never mind. I just wanted to ask you, Ria, and maybe it's a question for everyone, but I feel like when, at least in my situation, I was raised in a sort of like a community or a family or I guess just I guess is normal human behavior, that a lot of times I needed the motivation coming from somebody else instead of me in order for me to like feel motivated. But I love what you said and about saying, like I needed to motivate myself. I needed to like make this promise to myself and do this. And I see that in myself as well now. But I'm not really sure how I got to this place. And so I don't know if anybody else would like to share more about that, because how is it that we switch the power, and I don't know if everyone's like this, but I feel like I myself and Ria, so maybe more people are like this. I feel like there was a moment in my life where I switched that from feeling and wanting to be motivated by other people or other influences, and there was a switch where like, no, I can do it, I can motivate myself, I can do this. And so I guess my question is to everyone in the group, included with the what gets you out of a rut or what gives you motivation, like have you made that switch of like motivating yourself, and if so, do you remember how that happened? Because I'm very curious to learn more about that from everybody else.
I hope I'm audible. My internet is not the best.
No, you sound
Right.
perfect. I can hear you.
Great. So for me, I don't know if you still remember, there was a frenzy on some years back, I think it's a year or two, on the Face app, the one that could make you look old. So something, I think I'm sharing this story because something interesting happened to me. Like Felipe, what you're asking in terms of like the switch from being motivated by things which are external. So I think that's interesting because it was like a fan, a craze, where people were sharing their older looking pictures, right? Then I was like, for me, when I took the picture, I printed it out. Then I was like, what is this guy? What stories is this guy going to say? Like in my older self, maybe when I'm my twilight ages, what stories of adventure am I going to reflect about myself? Or what would I have accomplished, right? So I think that for me became something which drives me, the idea of the future self, right? What do I want? At the close of life. I don't know. I hope it's not a sad idea, but what do I want to accomplish? So I think that's something which then motivates me to say, okay, there are things which I want to do. There are communities which I want to transform. There are adventures which I want to have, places which I want to visit, and that has been a sort of motivation to me to say, there's a time when I'm going to be old and gray and I can't do these things. So if I can get the time and the opportunity while I'm still young, I need to do these things and fulfill my ambitions. So I think that's for me the moment of switch, but also what motivates me.
Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to share a few things actually. So a few years ago, I had my first episode of depression, and that was about like 4 3 years ago. And that was a pretty bad one because I was pretty young. I was 15 or 14, and I just didn't know how to get out of it. And I couldn't share that with my family because I didn't know how they would react. And it just all kept to myself. And it was pretty bad. And even if when I tried to tell my friends, but we were all just so young that I don't think any of the capacity to actually help each other in that at that point or help me. So it was a bad period, but through that, I sort of realized that uh, only you can bring yourself out of situations like this, because I'm sure I have family and I have my friends who will be there to support me, but it is nothing can happen until I make up my mind and decide to do it. So just finding that realization that I should rely on myself more to give me motivation, that that made me come out of it slowly and gradually, and then that made me seek help from my parents and from my friends, and slowly go to professionals and things like that. So I felt that, trying, you just realizing that only you can make that change and the shift within you, then that truly made me get out of all of that. I'm still not completely out of it because it comes and goes, but now I can actually get myself out of it and, realign with my values and my thoughts to deal with it actually. So that's how I find my motivation. And along with that, I agree with like workouts. I really, really enjoy working out. And one of the realize is that um, while I'm in a rut, I generally don't do anything and I don't like to spend time doing things I usually like. But just the fact that if I even do like 15 minutes of something that I like, or I do like I enjoy baking cookies. So if I do like only one batch of them, I'll suddenly find happiness and I'll suddenly like get back and do other things that I enjoy. So just taking that one small step and just the small step at one time, that will help me find my motivation again. So yeah, I think the things that I think I've realized. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Mika. That's really inspiring of how strong and trusting you had and how much faith you had in yourself to kind of connect to that strength you have within you to know that there is a way and you are the way. And at such an age where you came in contact with this and you took responsibility completely, and relied on yourself, and that, yeah, I'm really, really inspired. Thank you for sharing that. And that made me realize, listening to you, is for me, getting out of a rut. I'm a very expressive person, and I almost like have to unload whatever I'm feeling, or mentally, physically, with somebody, and then I realize I actually have the answers myself. I just needed to kind of get them out, say them out loud. And it used to be to the point where I would just do it in that moment and be like, oh, I need to speak to somebody, and then I can feel better. And I started to realize I was relying so much on other people, someone else, to help, even though I was coming up with the answers myself, but I felt like I needed someone to like kind of just be in the background through that process. And then I found that I was someone that would like just really need to have a good long moan, and then I would release it all, and then I'd be able to like have that clarity, understand what I need to do, and just go forward. And then what I started to do was, in any relationships I have, friends and family that I had, I would really, really almost take it on my own shoulders, whatever that person was going through, to support them, and almost like claim them as my own issues. And so I was very sensitive and would absorb that. And I realized that was through a mix of like almost wanting to save somebody, and fix them, and also seek validation from them, because to show that I was of some use, I was worthy, there was a need for me. And then that got to the point where I would really burn out. And I was so focused on them to support them to the point where, you know, I was on empty. And then from that, I realized that there was so much fear to, if like I don't maintain this relationship, and I was like carrying the weight to, you know, keep it going. And I realized that, you know, it's just coming back to yourself, because the only relationship that is ever going to be permanent through your life is the one that you have with yourself, not anybody else. And actually, if you are just being true to yourself and full, that is enough for everybody else, because you're automatically going to be sharing that energy and, you know, that vibration with them. And so now that, from when I'm in a rut, I think I do kind of more like what you and like Ria and, you know, we're sharing, like very much, right, go to yourself first, understand what I'm feeling and process it within myself, rather than feeling I need someone external to go through that with. And that can be just like, you know, I try not to do it in my head, because obviously it goes. So sometimes I'm just like talking to myself and do it. But the importance of understanding that you are so strong and you actually don't need anyone else. They are completely a complement, not a supplement. And so just to go back to tapping into that power, because as soon as you get to that power, you share it with everybody else. So I think and then you create that community once you are like full within yourself. So I'd say definitely a processing journey within yourself, the traveling going within first and then kind of going out is like something for me. So
Anna, what a wonderful insight that you just mentioned of the relation between fear and authenticity, and how can that become our own motivator, or like getting out of a rut, and how so many times fear stops us from doing more because, you know, we're just like afraid, right? we're like scared of what's going to happen, or the result or something like that. And so what an interesting concept to realize that, like, if we are more authentic with ourselves, we feel less fear, which allows us to overcome more ruts. Thank you. That's a good one right there. You know, one of the things that gets me out of a rut myself is going out to nature. One of the reasons why I live in the city that I live in, it's called Salt Lake City. It's because I have the mountains are like, we live on the mountains. Like my house is literally like going out the hill in the mountain, and it's a big mountain. It just like splits into more mountains. And I have, I don't know, 5-10 different trailheads to go hiking and to disappear. And I mean, and we're in a city, like the city, it's, you know, has a bunch of other cities together. So there's like probably like 2-3 million people in this valley. But I mean, drive 5 minutes to the trailhead, go walk in there, and 5 minutes into it, you don't hear anything. And you find yourself listening more to your breathing and the leaves flying with the wind than anything else. Well, except for my dog, she runs everywhere, but there's to me at least, there's something so beautiful about connecting with nature and having a moment to, with what Rennie was saying when we were doing the meditation, you know, ground our energy and feel more connected with everything in general. There's been plenty of times in my life where I felt like really down or in a rut, you know, or not feeling motivated to do things. And it's incredible what a walk in nature can do, a deep breathing can do, and a shower and water. But yeah, those are like key things for me to get out of rut, spending time in nature and just like having a quiet time and breathing and all that. So Vasu or Maxwell, do you guys want to share and like how to get out of a rut?
Yeah, for me, I think part of it is just taking a break really helps. Like I find that if I spend too long on something, like I guess I focus way too much on it, and it kind of just gets overwhelming, like because I'm focusing on every little detail. But I find when I take a step back and take a break for like just even a day or longer even, it really helps me like refocus and like helps me see things like in a different perspective.
Thank you.
And I feel very close to you, Felipe, about to take a walk, be in silence, give me more appreciation about myself, and I can find myself better. I can understand better myself. And also, as you say, take a shower helps a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Yeah, being silence for me is a big opportunity to find myself and discover how I feel and understand me better myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasu.
I just wanted to add to what Vasu was saying, like silence. It's just so magical because we're living in a time of just so much stimulation constantly, and there's no kind of boundaries to it. We have access to anything whenever we want it, especially if you're like in a privileged kind of situation, and the silence can bring up so much fear because you are truly with yourself, and it's actually amazing just that stillness of how much your body speaks to you in that moment, and how much you can just feel any sensations at any kind of place in your body. And then it's amazing, just out of nowhere the answer just comes, like getting that clarity after some space that you've had with yourself. And you know, if like silence was integrated more into routines, like how we did the meditation at the beginning, like imagine if you did that every day at the beginning of a class, or you know, when you're at work, and you know, before you do anything, like once you've like eaten a meal at a restaurant, it would just be so serene.
Yeah, if anybody would like to talk about how do you think we can make finding motivation a habit? How do you think we can inculcate that into our daily practices? So, like Anna said, maybe we can find motivation, make motivation a habit by doing meditations daily or things like that. So, what are your ideas and thoughts on it?
You know, for me, I think that when I'm feeling like not motivated, it's hard to remember the things that get me to that point. You know, so like I'm so focused on how bummed or not motivated I am that when I am in that position, it takes me a moment to realize like, oh, I need to go on a walk, or oh, I need to shower, you know, something like that. And so I wonder if anyone has some sort of way to remind yourselves to do this, you know, kind of like the question that you're asking, you know, how to make it a habit. Because the habit for me is to like feel the unmotivation and not understanding what to do for a while, and then being like, oh, I remember now, I need to do this. So I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know how to make it a habit yet. Someone's
guess
not.
I
I'll be
can
right back.
I guess I can share on my part, like making motivation a habit. I guess it's really difficult itself. The question itself is so complex for me, but somewhere it is about I guess I was become so self-absorbed and so self-care. Like, I guess people used to tell me I'm selfish, but somewhere or the other that has made me make the habit to like take care of myself, meditate, and to like sit there and do like, yeah, I want to do this. So even a part where the therapist helped me, because I used to keep talking with the therapist, and then she helped me, and she made me that the push which was needed, I guess, to make that a habit in my life. Like, she told me that you need to meditate, you need to concentrate if you want to bring yourself back. So that's what the push is for me, like to make a habit. I guess that was the push that needed in me. If there was nobody who would give me that push, I guess that would not be a natural habit in my life for me. So now it has become like, if I don't do this, it's become like a cycle that is breaking for me. If I don't do that, it's become like that. So it's really wonderful for me, like how I have seen myself getting involved in therapy and making a habit and putting myself out of it and then making a habit. So it motivates me a lot, like I have to do this, I have to do this. So I guess that is a point, or note, like a magical note for me in my life, where I am doing this every day. So it's just 15 minutes, but I really do it. And my calendar reminds me, like, you have to do this. So that's a pinpoint, like, calendar keeps pressing, like, the pressure point, like 1 point you pressure, and then your dopamine hits. So you have to do this, like that. So for me, it is like that. I don't know about others. I would love to listen what motivates, how y'all get the motivation habit. But for me, it is due to the therapist.
uh, I'd like to share. Uh, so I feel like gratitude is one of the things that uh, helps me be motivated to do things, because every day when at night after I keep my phone away, I just write in my journal. I write the things that I'm grateful for today, might be 10, 15, anything, whatever comes to mind. So as I write it, I just really try to feel why I'm grateful for it. I don't write the reasons for everything particularly, but I try to, recall it in my mind, that, what has made me thank this thing or this person or this situation today. And I just feel that. And I feel that if I've been given so much, if life is offering me so much, why can't I do something for my own self? And gratitude is something that really, really helps me stay motivated. And because I write in my gratitude journal every day, I think it becomes a habit automatically, because then I affirm that, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be doing this. And I write my gratitude list, and then I write and I will do this tomorrow list. So I think it just goes hand in hand. And it's I've just made an existing thing like a trigger for me to stay motivated, and it became an habit. It became a habit automatically.
Thanks for sharing, Ria. That's so nice. It always changes, like lifts the energy, doesn't it? And like shifts your perspective. I think for me, like before, I used to feel, when I was in a rut, I think I would be very critical on myself, that I shouldn't be feeling like this and I should be feeling like this instead, and then get quite frustrated with myself and put this expectation and pressure on myself. Whereas now I see as the energy, it's not balanced, and like the mind and the body is out of balance. So now I just really try to simplify, because I went on this whole journey for like a good 2 years of like how to heal and all these different methods and philosophies, and like the brain was gonna explode all these different techniques. And now I just try and keep it super simple and think, like, be silent, try and get in nature if I can. If not, just think what in this moment is going to bring me joy, because, and what do I feel like doing? And that can range from exercise to having a nap or whatever. And just understanding that there isn't like a go-to, it's going to be different in every moment. So if it is just having a conversation with someone, then that's what it is. So I try and, rather than go to what can I do to motivate myself, I just think, how can I bring my energy back in balance? Because I'm obviously depleted, and I'm feeling low energy. So how can I at least get myself a little bit equal to then be able to think about, okay, how can I now use that energy to take myself up to the next thing? So that's kind of my thing I'm experimenting with at the moment, which seems to be much gentler and kinder. And I think that's made me much more relaxed as well. And much more, you know, just in sync with the flow. Yeah, so anybody else have anything to share? Maxwell, Moses, Basu?
Okay. So for me, yeah, it's difficult to make motivation a habit. I think I know what you said, like being critical of oneself is something that also affects me a lot. Always trying to, you know, to push myself to become the best that I can. Sometimes all that also has its like toll, like your emotional toll, because maybe you look at, I want to achieve this and I haven't yet achieved it. There are things that I want to do, all that. But what I found has kept me grounded and motivated is to gratitude. Yeah, I relate to that. I think it was it Ria who spoke of gratitude. Reflecting back, you know, or on the things that I've done, or the good things for the day. What am I grateful for? Even just for the gift of life, just, rest, what can I say? Grounding myself and just being at ease in silence, and gathering and collecting my thoughts, and recognizing that, sometimes there's so much that we can do, and we have to keep pushing to achieve the things that we want, but we also need to maintain ourselves in a healthy space. So I think just taking time to reflect on the day, like at night, and I like early mornings as well. Yeah, just to reflect and to meditate. That also helps me to keep motivated and to focus on, well, what do I want to achieve for the day, and how at the end of the day, just to evaluate the things which I wanted to achieve. Where am I? Am I on track or am I not? So I think so. There's one of my mentors taught me this method. She calls it the 5 stones. So every week I don't set for many goals, but maybe 5 things, and in one area, maybe it's family life, or it's in my career, or it's friendships, or it's finances. I just set of one thing in a week which I want much, but having goals as well keeps me motivated, and those reflections after each day, and every morning. Yeah.
Thank you, Moses. So I had like another little insight that I got now too. It seems like for a lot of us, the habit itself is to feel and to sit with that emotion and to understand what you're feeling in order to like create some sort of change or something like a habit or something. So maybe the habit is to feel, is to understand your emotions and how you're feeling at that time, and allowing to see yourself with that emotion is what motivates you or gives you the energy to be like, oh, I need to go out and nature, or oh, I need to, you know, have some silence or meditation or something. And so I guess it's an important habit, and especially like in humanity in general, we're always taught to like hide feelings or to not feel as much or this and that, and kind of like going against that, it's maybe like the key to like create more habits of motivation. I don't know, just a thought.
Mm. Yeah, but just adding to that, it's like we're so used to intellectualizing everything rather than actually feeling and going back to the body. It's because the body just has so much wisdom. And sometimes, like what I'm finding now is like you actually don't need to understand. Sometimes you just feeling is enough, because as soon as you feel, that's how you can release, and then that's the freedom.
True.
I'm very grateful for hear this beautiful experience from all of you. And for example, today I don't have my camera because I'm cooking, and this is a way for me to also to find motivation. Hearing from you this experience in cooking in the same time and be with you in spirit, for me, give me this motivation. And now I reflecting about it, that sometimes cooking is a way that helps me to be motivated, and also listen music, sing, listen music, and enjoy be with myself. This is something that helps me. Thank you.
Beautiful. And now we know, well, now we know that we got two meditative cooks or bakers, Maxwell and Pastor. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that whenever I realize that I'm getting rut, or you kind of feel that, look, I'm slowly getting into this rut and I'm slowly losing all my energy. That's when I've trained myself to realize that maybe I'm doing less of the things that I love. Maybe that is why I'm slowly losing all my energy. So I make it a point to sort of put in activities, different activities that I enjoy, so that I don't feel low, I don't feel sudden drop of energy. And yeah, I think that is something. And also, while I'm in a rut, I forgot to mention that earlier. I used to internalize a lot of my issues at that point. So if I was not able to maybe answer in one class, I would suddenly declare that, oh, I'm a failure at doing this, or I'm so bad at doing this. And I just realized that that's not me. I mean, I am not a failure. The situation, I couldn't at that point, it was a failure, but I am not a failure. So just sort of externalizing that incident into something else, and like it's a visitor, it's thing that just comes once in a while, and that's not me. I do not define myself by that. That kind of helped me come out of it easy. So yeah, I think just the process of externalizing and internalizing, realizing that difference helped me. Yeah.
Great insight. Failure is an experience, not an identity.
Yeah.
And so much learning comes from failure anyway. I see failure as growth rather than a negative thing that takes away from an opportunity. It's actually an opportunity.
Right? Yeah, I think that it's important to diversify our narrative with failure, because failure is just one other way that you learn that doesn't fulfill whatever you're trying to accomplish. But now you know that doesn't work. And so you move on to the next one instead of being like, oh, this sucks and all that, So yeah, great insight. Thank you.
Maxwell, would you like to share how you could make it, and or how do you turn motivation into an habit?
I guess one of them is through meditation. I think that I find that really like taking time to just stop and like refocus my mind really helps. Like I think probably I lose motivation when I'm just continuously like working all day or just never giving myself like a time to reflect.
I think maybe we can move on to the next topic if that's okay. Does anyone want to add anything? Yeah, okay. Then we'll move on. So the next section is discovering our purpose. And finding our purpose begins with knowing where we stand in terms of mental, skill, and professional skills. So I'd like to ask, what activities, skills, or strengths can you start pursuing right away, which you think will lead you closer to your purpose? Um, I think Felipe would post that. Yeah, thank you. Uh, the floor is all yours. Anybody who'd like to start?
Well, for me, I think I'd sort of shared to maybe just to have a platform to speak more often, to share my ideas and to relate, to share my experiences, because I think that's where what I'm passionate about, and I think that's my areas of strength. So I think if I continue to explore that, the closer I get, to fulfilling my purpose. Yeah, and also using, the gift the gift that I have for a higher purpose. To speak about things that matter and to speak about things that can also transform other people's lives and to shape ideas that are positive. So I think that's something that I'm working on, and hopefully I can continue pursuing it. Yeah.
If I could just ask Moses, what like activity would you like to do? Like, what would you like to begin with this journey with?
So what I'm starting with is I'm putting together like a show where I can invite other young people in my country to speak on issues that are affecting young people, but with a view to find solutions, try to look into the future to say what role should we play as young people to change the existing narrative in my own country. So that's something that I'm actually committing a lot of time to shape and to develop and to find the right people that are going to assist me in that direction. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Would anyone else like to go?
I'd like to share. I think mine is almost like a reversal of what I used to do, much more simple. I'd be very like, okay, I need to learn this skill to then get to this point. Whereas now I'm just like, I'm just going to meditate, just going to meditate, and that will give me the answer, as I feel like there's so much consumption of information and getting inspired, getting influenced, and it's just too much of an overload. And I think it can be too intellectual rather than like physical connection. So that has really helped me in my own confidence in listening to my intuition, because I've never really felt a strong connection. And with a meditation, it's really good for my patience as well, because I'm a very impatient, like I want the answer now and I want to achieve it now. And so with meditation, you're really just, for me, I'm like really forced to just observe and see what comes up, and then go and listen to that. Like, the answer is there, it's just up to me whether I choose to listen and respond to that. So I would just say, for me, that's the skill that I actually want to build, is my intuition, that voice, and the mind and matter, like the body connection. And the purpose, I think it's not finding it, it's just creating space for it to come out, because I feel like it's already in there. So I'd say that's like my thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Anna, when you were saying, like the impatience that comes and everything, I think that's like the typical millennial tragedy. I don't know if for Gen Zs it's the same, but for millennials, it's like we're so impatient due to the instant gratification that we were sort of like raised in. Like it's a click or a tap and you find it or you see it. And so when you don't have an answer directly at the point, like at the moment, frustration and impatience just like takes you down. So for sure on that. As I'm thinking about the question, what activities, skills, or strengths, listening to this conversation has kind of like given me some insights on fearlessness. So whenever I start or not fearlessness, but maybe like embracing the fear, in the sense of if I'm starting to feel fear, sitting myself with it for a second and being like, why am I feeling this? And is this like a call for me to action? Like, is this a way for me to say, like, you should do it, you should jump into that? I don't know. So that's one of the things that like comes to my mind, is like, okay, embracing that idea of fear. A long time ago, I remember reading a little book or saying something about fear, and how this author, she mentioned something about like, I sat with my fear and I talked to her and I got to know her, and I realized that we were very much the same person, and my fear became my friend. And how beautiful and graphic that is. Like, as soon as we feel fear, we're like, oh, let's get out of here, or like let's stick away this, like let's separate. But when we sit with it and we feel, just so we've been discussing this fear becomes a friend. This fear becomes something that is nothing to be fearful about. So I'm very much looking forward to putting into practice that idea, that concept, for the next couple of weeks, just to see how it works. And then I think that with that, one of the things that gives me fear is I tend to think of myself too serious at times. And so I think that the way to, embrace that fear is to take myself less seriously, and don't get me wrong, I'm fucking stupid. Like I'm crazy. Like, like I like doing a lot of different dumb stuff, and I embrace all the different like things that I can do. But there's always like a little fear, and so sometimes that stops me from it. So that's something that I'm taking away from this, and wanna like start pursuing right away, is to create that skill of embracing fear and taking myself less seriously. And I think that could help me to feel more motivated to explore more about creating safe spaces, or my art, or whatever it is that I'm trying to explore a little bit more of. So thank you all for giving me those insights today.
Just adding to what you've said, Felipe, like that's such a beautiful way to express fear. Fear is your friend, as fear so much is seen as like, you feel the fear and do it anyway. It's your ego, it's something to overcome, you like push against it, and it's almost seen as an aggressive motivator sometimes. But to like see as your friend, it is such like I think a compassionate perspective to actually, your fear is almost like the ego, trying to protect you, but it has the right intention. So it's not necessarily something to reject in a way that is dragging you down, but actually there's like that deeper message to it, and it's only trying to do its best, and we just need to connect with it in the right way to understand where we need to go next.
Thank you, Anna. And you know, one of the what I wrote in my little book of notes is, I think in order to accomplish this that we're discussing, I want to schedule myself 10 minutes a day. This is just my goal, right? And then we can talk about different goals or whatever. But like for me, the goal would be to schedule 10 minutes a day for this next 2 weeks. I want to do like 5 minutes on, like, try to find some sort of meditation that talks about fear or something like that, and maybe like work on those for 5 minutes, and then the next 5 minutes sit with my feelings and explore that. And I think that to me sounds like a very almost like exciting thing to explore. How can I feel more motivation and discover more of myself as I sit with my feelings? So again, thanks for the inspiration. This goal feels right to me, for me.
Yeah, I now you've like shared that, like I feel like really inspired to just like go deeper within my own practice of like meditation and try and maintain it, as it's something that, it's funny how the thing that's like not the best but really good for you, it tends to be the first thing you compromise when you're like too busy, or you're like, you know, something happens and you feel like you don't have enough time, so that's like the first thing you cut out. So I feel like I'm going to make sure, like even set an alarm, like reminder in my phone to make sure that, okay, stop now. You have to, even if it means less sleep, I will meditate, because it's something that I dip in and out of, and I feel like it's something that I can commit to, and I have experienced like the power that it has. So that's something that I'm going to set for myself, day and night.
I think from listening to all of you, I realize that I don't meditate if I want to. So I realized that the main problem why I can't really make myself meditate or sit down and do this is because I want to control what happens with me and what happens in the future. And I just want to know everything all the time. And I feel that I need to learn to release that need of control over my own life and just let it happen and let it flow organically, let it happen the way it is supposed to, without me always trying to, grasp at every thread and want to know everything. So I think that is what is sort of hindering me from getting more into meditation and getting more into spirituality, because my family really is very spiritual and religious, and it's inspiring, but at the same time I feel like, why can't I do that? But now slowly realizing from this conversation that I need to let go of the fear of not having control, and maybe from that I slowly get into practicing meditation and spirituality all together. Yeah. So that will be my goal, that is to meditate, and in that meditation not let the need of control come back. So
Sorry, I'm taking notes. That was really good. You know what? Oh, sorry, Ria, go for it.
Oh, no. Please go ahead. Yes.
It was just something that Mejika said about religion and meditation and all that. So I grew up pretty religious, like Mormon LDS, and then I left because I'm gay. They don't take them. So, but I remember being like very like anti-religion, anti-prayer, anti-everything that meant to communicate to a God. Even if it wasn't like a Christian situation, I was just like very much like anti-religion in general. But as I started getting more into like meditation and mindfulness and understanding of spirituality over religion, I realized that most religions do meditation through prayer. Like that is a meditation, right? Like you're quiet, your eyes are closed, you're basically saying a mantra, talking about something, connecting with this like deeper sense of self and others and whatnot. And so meditation has a powerful role in all humanity throughout history. We just don't call it like that all the time. And so I thought that was like a one. I remember being like very much like I was very against religion for like 2 years or something like that. And then I'll go to my parents' house and they were on table and they're about to like start like blessing the food. And I'm like in my head, I'm like, ugh, they're just gonna pray again. And everybody closed their eyes and everybody started like talking. And I was like, oh my God, this is a meditation right now. And why am I not experiencing this? Why am I not wanting to like be part of this? And so yeah, I thought it was really interesting that meditation really is throughout human history. So very powerful tool. Ria, please. Sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. What I was about to say that I've been thinking all this while you guys were talking as well. So I feel like I don't really know where I'm going to end up and what my purpose is going to be. I mean, I think it keeps evolving as I keep growing and coming across new experiences and learning new things. So I feel for me it's just important, or something that I can do which will help me lead closer to my purpose is just be in the present moment and give my best at whatever I'm doing right now. Because I don't know, maybe in 2 years, now this won't happen, but maybe in 2 years I might not be part of such calls. Probably it might lead me somewhere else. So that's just an example. Hypothetically speaking, it won't happen because I love being here. But I feel like I'm just trying to keep an open mind and learning from wherever I can. Like I think 2-3 of y'all mentioned earlier how we can absolutely learn from anything. So I feel I just need to keep an open mind and try to see whatever there is that my current situation is offering me. And I don't know, I have a strong belief that it will lead me to my purpose. Whatever it is, I just want to be happy and I want to be able to share that happiness with others around me. So
Maxwell, Vasu, do you have any insights or maybe something that you would like to put to practice after having these conversations and, to explore more self-discovery or emotions and motivations and whatnot?
Yeah, I love hear from you and learning this new experience. Also, I feel very close to you, Felipe, again, because my mom is other faith, my husband other faith, LDS my mom, my husband Muslim, and something that I'm learning is also to appreciate this diversity, and learning from this diversity has the different practices. And something that I would like to do activities. For example, you mentioned about to write the things that we are grateful, and this is something that I would like to apply. and also to be more close to open my mind to new experience, spiritual experience, and learn from these diversities. Thank you.
And so for those that have not participated in a listening circle with us before, what we have done before is we have this listening circle where we explore a topic. In this case, we're exploring self-discovery and motivation. And then we, after having these conversations, we kind of like all sort of come up with an idea to put to action, either an experience or an experiment or whatever it is. And then we have set up a follow-up listening circle that's going to be a lot shorter than this one, that happens after 2 weeks of this one. So not this upcoming Wednesday, but the following. And that's where we check in with each other. If you're able to participate on the next circle, on the follow-up circle, check in with each other how the experience that you decided to explore help you or didn't help you to increase whatever topic we're discussing. So in this case, you know, how, at least for me personally, how having this 10 minutes a day with motivation and sitting with my feelings can help me to explore more self-discovery. Did it help me to discover more about myself, or did it not? And so then after 2 weeks, we come back with each other, we share like, oh yeah, this worked for me, this didn't work for me. And so we kind of like have a mini discussion on that. So that's why the question is, you know, like what are some things that maybe you are trying to, that you want to put to practice during this next 2 weeks, or however long you want to do it. Mihika, do you have anything to add in there? Like anything that you want to like share as far as like practice or anything?
Yeah, I think for the last few months, I had a little bit of a break from everything, like from studying and things like that. So I kind of didn't have any intention on starting the day. I didn't have any plans for myself, and that was great. But at the same time, I've realized that I need that kind of structure to really be able to enjoy my day and not feel sluggish. So I'm thinking of, setting my intentions on what to do every day in the morning. It's not just activities or work that I have to do, but just what kind of mindset I want to have today or for this week. And along with that, I really like having a gratitude journal and doing a meditation wherein, even if it's just 5 minutes, that's all. That's all I want to do. I want to engage into this practice so that I can um, get closer to finding my purpose and to spirituality and things like that. So, yeah. Does anyone else want to share any of the activities that you plan to do? Or set any intention the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, like you said, Mihika, to set how you want to, keep your mindset throughout the week. I think that's so important because sometimes there might be situations or just, stress from work or just other things that might kind of make you feel overwhelmed. And I think reminding yourself that, okay, I've set, I've decided to set this tone for the week and I want to stick with it. I think that really helps us to take a moment, pause, and then, uh, you know, be in a better mindset. So I think that's also one thing that I'd like to do. And actually, my mom and I are in this chanting philosophy. It's called the Lotus Sutra. It's a Buddhist practice actually. So I think I want to be regular in my chanting, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. But I think it's more like a vocal meditation. But like Felipe just said, meditation and prayer. So I completely agree with that. So yeah, I think I'm going to try doing that and try being consistent and do it every day.
It's interesting to hear kind of like where we started the conversation and where we are now, and how much it's all about just coming back to yourself. And in terms of like, you know, being quiet, reconnecting, you know, to your spirit, your soul, and just like getting rid of so much noise. And from then it's almost like a reset, and then you kind of go forward from that. And it just really emphasizes the simplicity, and it reminds me of like so many philosophies or like religions, in terms of when you really go deep down to the core, everyone's pretty much saying the same thing, aren't they? And actually you just get rid of all these layers and you just go back to being instead of doing.
Totally. Thank you, Anna. I think that, I mean, that's a, man, what a closing statement right there. Because really, what we've learned so far with YCC is that there's so much beauty that we can grow within ourselves as we create more self-compassion, and that transfers into whatever other topic that we end up analyzing at our listening circle. So super grateful for this. I think it's come to the end of the circle. Super grateful for everyone that showed up here, especially Mihika. Thank you. You did an awesome job planning and directing this, and super grateful for your effort and for all the time and energy that you spent on this. For everybody else, remember to like either mark yourself in a calendar or an alarm for you to remind yourself of this experience that you've chosen to do for this next 2 weeks. I will be sending an email to everyone that signed up for the circle to register for the circle that we're like the follow-up circle that we'll have in 2 weeks. It's going to be a lot shorter, and especially considering that our group is already small, which is nice and cute. We'll keep following up that way. Okay, so thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for being able to share the space together and to explore more of compassion and self-compassion. So everyone have a great day or evening or night, wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Take care. Lots of love.
Thank you. Bye.